So, you've got knee pain. You're not alone. Around 25% of adults deal with it, and it gets only worse with age if left unchecked. I get it because I've been there. At 17, I tore my meniscus, leaving me barely able to walk. The doctors told me I'd need surgery if I ever wanted to do sports again, but I wasn't ready to accept that. Sure, there are times when surgery is the answer, but for me, that wasn't one of them. I was determined to heal my body through movement. What followed were 3 long years of trial and error. I tried countless training techniques, pushing through failure after failure, and pain after pain, only to get my knee to somewhat function again. It was still weak, my mobility was awful, and I could barely bend it 90 degrees. But slowly I got it to a stable place. I could even run again. But later on I joined the army. Suddenly I was thrown into a whirlwind of physical challenges, drills and new demands on my body. For a while I kept up, but after a brutal 21-kilometer run I found myself again at square one, barely able to walk. I remember stumbling to the showers that day, asking myself, what now? I couldn't keep training like this without wrecking my knee completely. But here's the thing about the army, it has some people who know how to work through injury. I told one of my commanding officers what I was dealing with, and he gave me some advice that changed everything. He pointed me toward a guy called Knees Over Toes Guy and his knee workouts. What happens next? Honestly, it feels like a miracle. I did his exercises twice a day for 2 weeks, and I've been pain-free ever since. That's how powerful moving correctly can be. So in this video I'm gonna take you step by step through these life-changing exercises. This is the knee workout I use to go from constant pain to completely pain-free. Let me break it down to you, why it works and how you can do it correctly at your home with no necessary equipment. There is some equipment that I use that I found very helpful for myself, but each and every exercise can be done without it. The key to this routine is building strength and mobility in areas that protect and support your knee, like your tibialis, calves, hamstrings and quads. Most knee pain stems from weaknesses, imbalances or lack of proper joint function. This workout targets those weak links systematically. Done consistently, these exercises build bulletproof and fortificated knees. 1. Single leg balance. When I first started doing this workout, I was like, okay, now this looks simple, might as well skip it, right? No, here's why. Balancing on one leg activates the smaller stabilizing muscles around the knee, such as the vastus medialis oblique, a key part of the quadriceps that keeps the kneecap aligned. Additionally, it activates the glutes and the hip stabilizers, muscles that help control the position of your knee during movement, and the ankle stabilizers like the tibialis anterior. Balancing also improves proprioception, which is your body's ability to sense its position in space. When you lose balance, your body reacts by firing muscles to correct it. These reflexive adjustments train your brain and nervous system to protect your knee in real-life situations, like sudden twists or uneven ground. Balancing also teaches your body to hold proper alignment by ensuring your knee tracks over your toes instead of collapsing inward or outward. This alignment reduces wear and tear on the whole structure. In short, balancing is like a training ground for your body to learn how to stabilize the knee naturally, reducing pain and preventing injuries in the long run. Plus, it's simple to do and can be adapted to your skill level, making it a perfect low-impact, high-reward addition to your routine. I did this exercise as often as I could, even when I was in public, just standing still and listening to somebody talking or whatever. I used to lift one foot just a little so nobody would notice, but I would still get the benefit of balancing on the other one. 2. Tibialis Raises. The tibialis anterior, the sad, overlooked muscle on the front of your shin, doesn't get nearly enough love, but strengthening it made the biggest difference in my knee health. Most people don't even think about it, but it's essential, because every single step you take puts forces on your knee joint. And if those forces aren't managed properly, guess who suffers? I can't lift it that high. Your knee! To handle those forces the way they're meant to, your body needs two things: adequate mobility and strength in all muscles required in the movement. And the tibialis anterior happens to be one of the unsung heroes here. For this exercise, just stand with your back against the wall, feet away from it. Lift your toes as high as possible while keeping your heels on the ground. Lower your toes slowly and repeat. Play around with the distance between your legs and the wall to see what fits you best. 3. Straight knee calf raises. The gastrocnemius is the larger, more visible calf muscle that crosses both the ankle and your knee joint. Straight knee calf raises primarily target this muscle, which supports dynamic, high-impact movements. For this exercise, stand with your feet hip-width apart, legs straight. Rise up onto your toes as high as possible and lower slowly. 4. Bent knee calf raises. The soleus is a deeper calf muscle that lies beneath the gastrocnemius. Unlike the gastrocnemius, it doesn't cross the knee joint. It attaches only to the ankle. Bent knee calf raises isolate the soleus by putting the gastrocnemius in a less active position. Perform the same movement as before, but this time with your knees slightly bent. Now let's see why this helps. The calves and the tibialis anterior are like two sides of the same coin. They work together as antagonistic muscles. That's why their functions are similar but opposing. By training both the tibialis anterior and your calves, you're creating a balanced, strong foundation that supports your knees in every step, squat, jump or run. Here's a little on how it works. Every time your foot hits the ground, whether you're walking, running or jumping, a force travels up your leg and your tibialis and calves work together to absorb that impact. The tibialis anterior reduces the initial jolt by controlling how your foot makes contact with the ground, while the calves absorb and distribute the remaining energy. Together they act like a dynamic shock absorber, protecting your knee joint from excessive stress. This is especially crucial during high-impact activities like sprinting, hiking downhill, or landing from a jump. Without strong calves and tibialis, those forces end up hammering directly into your knee, leading to wear and tear over time. Think of them as a suspension system on a car. If the shocks are weak or worn out, every bump in the road rattles the whole car. Strengthening both your calves and tibialis is like upgrading your suspension. Smoother movement, better protection, and less stress on your joints. 5. Patrick step. Now this is where an important part of the wisdom is. Maybe you have heard of this myth, but it was somehow frowned upon to move your knees over your toes. For people new to exercise, this rule served as an easy way to avoid poor posture. But that's history. Knees over toes happens naturally in everyday life. Think about walking upstairs, running or squatting down to pick something off the floor. Preventing it would force your body into unnatural mechanics. In fact, allowing your knees to go over your toes is natural and often necessary for proper biomechanics. For the Patrick step, step forward with control, allowing your knee to travel slightly over your toes. Focus on form, keep your movement slow and controlled. Use an incline for more challenge or a flat surface if you're just starting. Honestly, for me, the incliner just hits the right spot. And it felt really good training this when I had severe knee pain. Weirdly enough, even if I could barely walk, I had no strong pains during these exercises. 6. Hamstring stretch. Tight hamstrings pull on the pelvis and therefore can affect the alignment of your lower body, creating additional strain on your knee joint. When your hamstrings are flexible, the knee can move through its natural range of motion without unnecessary tension. For this exercise, you simply reach for the ground, no matter at what level you are. As long as you feel a gentle stretch, it's good. Don't force anything, stay persistent. Additionally, slowly bend one knee at a time to intensify the stretch on the other leg and reverse. 7. ATG Split Squat. Alright, let's talk about why the ATG Split Squat is a total game changer for your knee health. As mentioned already, your knees go over your toes in everyday life, so why wouldn't you train them in that position? That's where the ATG Split Squat comes in. This exercise does basically everything your knees need. First, it strengthens the patellar tendon, which is huge if you ever dealt with knee pain, especially jumper's knee or tendonitis. It trains your knee to handle deep flexion safely, making it more resilient instead of weaker. And it doesn't just work the front leg, the back leg gets a serious hip flexor stretch, which is crucial because tight hips throw off your knee mechanics, possibly leading to pain. Plus, the exercise improves ankle mobility, which means better knee movement and fewer compensations that mess up your joint. At this point, it isn't just about pain relief. It's about bulletproofing your knees for life. Make your life enjoyable, for real. Whether you're an athlete or a lifter, or just someone who wants to move better without pain, the ATG Split Squat should be in your routine. Train your knees the way they're meant to move. Strengthen them, stretch what's tight, and build real stability. Your future self will thank you. Start with a small elevation. If you're tight, start with your front foot elevated on a step or plate. As mobility improves, work toward a flat ground split squat. Keep your front heel flat. Let your knee travel over your toes naturally, but keep your foot grounded. Keep your back leg as straight as possible. This maximizes the hip flexor stretch and improves rear leg activation. Go slow and controlled. Focus on eccentric strength, the part where you're lowering, which protects the knee. Work through a full range. Aim to gradually increase depth over time without pain. And that's it. It's really not that complicated. This changed my life completely, and it could do the same for you. Before I wrap up, I just want to give a huge thank you to Knees Over Toes Guy and everything he does. I am beyond grateful to have come across this knowledge. I hope this information helps you on your journey to become a pain-free, stronger, and more capable mover. Keep training, keep learning, and most importantly, keep moving. Thank you for watching. Lately I've been sitting on this green ball and it's really doing you a favor. I mean, it just feels so different. When you stand up, it's like I didn't even sit. My lower back feels worked. Just amazing, really.